The air in the grand hall was thick with anticipation and excitement as friends and family gathered to celebrate the upcoming union of Kayla and Neil. Adorned in a pristine white gown that hugged her curves in all the right places, Kayla stood at the altar, her heart aflutter with nervous anticipation. But as the ceremony unfolded, joy gave way to bewilderment, then to a searing humiliation that threatened to consume her. It started innocently enough, with Neil's jovial tone masking the barbs hidden within his words. All right, he boomed, his voice carrying across the room. You guys want to know how I managed to seduce my fiancé? Let me tell you, it was a piece of cake. His laughter reverberated through the hall, but Kayla felt a knot form in her stomach. The guests chuckled, unaware of the discomfort brewing beneath the surface. Neil's next words pierced through the laughter like shards of glass. Oh well, here's another one, he continued, his gaze fixed on Kayla. My fiancé took her pants to the dry cleaner last week. The woman there took one look at him and said, Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. We don't do curtains. Kayla's heart skipped a beat as the room erupted in laughter once again. She forced a smile, hoping to brush off the humiliation threatening to engulf her. But Neil's taunts didn't stop there. Curtains, come on, he teased, his voice dripping with mock sympathy. Kayla, honey, I promise to love every bit of ya, and that's a whole lot to love, am I right? Kayla's cheeks burned with embarrassment as she fought to maintain her composure. The weight of Neil's words pressed down on her, suffocating her beneath their cruel weight. She exchanged a glance with her maid of honor, who offered a sympathetic smile, but it did little to ease the sting of Neil's relentless mockery. As the ceremony drew to a close, Kayla felt relief wash over her, mingled with a deep sense of shame. She had hoped for a day filled with love and laughter, but instead she'd have been subjected to Neil's hurtful taunts. And as she stood there surrounded by well-wishers, she couldn't shake the sinking feeling that her wedding day would forever be marred by the humiliation she had endured. In the days following the disastrous rehearsal dinner, Kayla's world seemed to shrink around her. Every glance in the mirror served as a painful reminder of Neil's cruel words, chipping away at her already fragile confidence. She tried to convince herself that it was just Neil's twisted sense of humor, but the wounds he had inflicted ran deep. Alone in her room, Kayla avoided her reflection, unwilling to confront the image that stared back at her with accusing eyes. She retreated into herself, her once vibrant spirit dulled by the weight of Neil's taunts. The laughter that once filled her home now rang hollow, a constant reminder of the humiliation she had endured. One evening, as Kayla sat in silence, lost in her own thoughts, her best friend Sarah entered the room, concern etched on her face. Hey Kayla, she said softly, taking a seat beside her. Are you okay? Kayla forced a smile, but it faltered as she met Sarah's gaze. I'm fine, she replied, her voice betraying her true emotions. Just trying to process everything. Sarah reached out, gently squeezing Kayla's hand. You know, what Neil said was completely out of line, she said, her voice filled with empathy. You don't deserve to be treated like that, especially not on your wedding day. Tears welled in Kayla's eyes as she nodded, grateful for Sarah's unwavering support. I know, she whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. But it still hurts, you know? I thought he loved me. Sarah pulled Kayla into a comforting embrace, offering silent solace in the midst of her friend's pain. You deserve so much better than this, Kayla, she said, her words echoing in the quiet room. Don't let Neil's words define you. You're stronger than you think. As Sarah held her close, Kayla felt a flicker of hope ignite within her, a small beacon of light in the darkness of her despair. Maybe, just maybe, she could find the strength to pick up the pieces of her shattered confidence and rebuild herself from the ground up. And with Sarah by her side, she knew she wouldn't have to face the journey alone. As Kayla continued to grapple with the aftermath of Neil's hurtful words, a chance encounter with Gloria Bream, the head of a prestigious modeling agency, sparked a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness of her despair. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when Kayla stumbled upon a flyer advertising a local fashion show. With nothing to lose, she decided to attend, hoping to distract herself from the turmoil brewing within. As she navigated through the bustling crowd, her eyes fell upon a striking woman with a commanding presence. It was Gloria Bream, the woman whose name was synonymous with success in the world of fashion. Summoning her courage, Kayla approached Gloria, her heart pounding in her chest. "Excuse me," she began tentatively, "are you Gloria Bream?" Gloria turned to face Kayla, her gaze appraising. "Yes, I am," she replied, a hint of curiosity in her voice. "And who might you be?" Kayla hesitated for a moment before mustering the courage to speak. "My name is Kayla," she said, her voice steady despite the uncertainty swirling within. "I couldn't help but notice your flyer for the fashion show. I'm interested in modeling." Gloria studied Kayla for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, to Kayla's surprise, a small smile tugged at the corners of Gloria's lips. "Well, Kayla, you certainly have the look for it," she said, her voice tinged with approval. "But modeling is about more than just looks. It's about confidence, poise, and determination." Kayla nodded, absorbing Gloria's words like a sponge. "I understand," she replied earnestly, "and I'm willing to put in the work to prove myself." Gloria regarded Kayla with renewed interest, a spark of something akin to admiration flickering in her eyes. "I admire your determination, Kayla," she said, her tone softened. "Why don't you come see me tomorrow? We can discuss your aspirations further." As Kayla watched Gloria disappear into the crowd, a sense of excitement bubbled within her. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, she allowed herself to entertain the possibility of a brighter future, one where she could reclaim her confidence and redefine herself on her own terms. And as she made her way home, a newfound sense of purpose burned bright within her, lighting the path to a future filled with endless possibilities. With Gloria's words of encouragement echoing in her mind, Kayla found herself standing at a crossroads, teetering on the edge of a new beginning. The decision to walk away from her toxic relationship with Neil was daunting, but the promise of reclaiming her self-worth beckoned her forward like a beacon in the darkness. Summoning every ounce of courage she possessed, Kayla made the decision to take control of her own destiny. She confronted Neil, her voice steady despite the tremors of fear coursing through her veins. "Neil," she began, her words measured, "I can't do this anymore. I deserve better than the way you treated me." Neil's expression darkened, his eyes flashing with anger. "What are you talking about, Kayla?" He spat, his voice laced with contempt. "You're just overreacting. It was all just a joke." But Kayla refused to back down, her resolve unwavering. "It wasn't just a joke, Neil," she countered, her voice rising with conviction. "Your words hurt me, and I deserve to be with someone who uplifts me, not tears me down." With those words, Kayla walked away, leaving Neil standing there, his anger simmering beneath the surface. As she stepped into the unknown, uncertainty gnawed at her insides, but she refused to let fear dictate her future. In the days that followed, Kayla threw herself into her newfound passion for modeling with unwavering determination. She attended casting calls, honed her craft, and embraced every opportunity that came her way. And with each step she took, she felt the weight of Neil's hurtful words slowly begin to lift from her shoulders. One evening, as Kayla prepared for a photo shoot, she found herself face to face with Gloria once again. "Kayla," Gloria said, her tone warm with approval, "I've been keeping an eye on you, and I must say, you've impressed me." Kayla's heart soared at Gloria's praise, her confidence bolstered by the recognition of her hard work. "Thank you, Gloria," she replied, her voice tinged with gratitude. "I owe it all to you for believing in me." Gloria smiled, a twinkle of pride gleaming in her eyes. "You've proven yourself, Kayla," she said, her voice filled with certainty. "And I have no doubt that you're destined for greatness in this industry." As Kayla stepped onto the set, a sense of exhilaration washed over her, fueling her determination to succeed. With each click of the camera shutter, she felt a newfound sense of freedom, liberated from the shackles of her past. And as she struck pose after pose, she knew that she was finally taking control of her own narrative, rewriting the story of her life with every defiant step she took. As Kayla delved deeper into the world of modeling, she found herself on a journey of self-discovery unlike any she had ever experienced before. With each photoshoot and runway appearance, she shed the remnants of her past insecurities, embracing her curves with unapologetic confidence. Her determination and talent did not go unnoticed. Soon, Kayla's name began to spread throughout the industry like wildfire, drawing the attention of designers, photographers, and magazine editors alike. Offers flooded in, each one more enticing than the last, as Kayla's star continued to rise. One memorable afternoon, Kayla found herself at the studio of a renowned fashion photographer, preparing for what would be her biggest photo shoot yet. As she stepped in front of the camera, she channeled all the strength and resilience that had brought her to this moment, exuding a magnetic presence that captivated all who beheld her. "Beautiful, Kayla, absolutely beautiful," the photographer exclaimed, his enthusiasm evident in every click of the shutter. "You're a natural in front of the camera." Kayla beamed with pride, the validation of her hard work washing over her like a warm embrace. "Thank you," she replied, her voice filled with gratitude. "I've worked hard to get here, and I'm grateful for every opportunity that comes my way." As the photo shoot progressed, Kayla felt a sense of liberation unlike any she had ever experienced before. With each pose, she shed the remnants of her past self-doubt, embracing her curves with an unapologetic fierceness that left everyone in the room in awe. Weeks passed, and Kayla's face began to grace the covers of magazines and billboards around the world. Her confidence soared with each new accolade, her spirit unbreakable in the face of any challenge that came her way. One evening, as Kayla attended a prestigious fashion event, she found herself surrounded by some of the biggest names in the industry. As she mingled with designers and celebrities alike, she couldn't help but marvel at how far she had come since that fateful day at the altar. "Kayla," a familiar voice called out from across the room, and she turned to see Gloria approaching with a smile on her face. "I just wanted to say how proud I am of you. You've truly become a force to be reckoned with in this industry." Tears welled in Kayla's eyes as she embraced Gloria, overcome with gratitude for the woman who had believed in her from the very beginning. "Thank you, Gloria," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "I couldn't have done it without you." As Kayla stood there, surrounded by the glitz and glamour of the fashion world, she knew that she had finally found her place. With her head held high and her heart full of gratitude, she was ready to embrace whatever the future held, knowing that she had the strength and resilience to conquer any obstacle that came her way. As Kayla's success continued to soar, she found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this moment. Amidst the whirlwind of photo shoots and runway shows, she took moments of solitude to contemplate the woman she had become and the obstacles she had overcome. One afternoon, Kayla sat in her dressing room, surrounded by the trappings of her newfound fame. As she gazed into the mirror, she couldn't help but marvel at the transformation that had taken place within her. The girl who had once cowered under Neil's hurtful words was now a vision of strength and resilience, her confidence radiating like a beacon of light. Lost in thought, Kayla was startled by a knock on the door. "Come in," she called out, and Sarah entered the room, a warm smile gracing her lips. "Hey Kayla," Sarah said, taking a seat beside her friend. "I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing." Kayla returned Sarah's smile, grateful for her unwavering support. "I'm doing well, thank you," she replied, her voice filled with sincerity. "It's been a whirlwind, but I wouldn't trade it for anything." Sarah nodded in understanding, her eyes filled with pride. "I'm so proud of you, Kayla," she said, her voice tinged with emotion. "You've come so far, and you deserve every bit of success that comes your way." Tears welled in Kayla's eyes as she reached out to squeeze Sarah's hand. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. "I couldn't have done it without you by my side." As Sarah embraced Kayla, the two friends shared a moment of quiet reflection, their bond strengthened by the trials they had faced together. And as they parted ways, Kayla felt a renewed sense of gratitude for the people who had stood by her through the darkest moments of her journey. In the days that followed, Kayla found herself contemplating the future with a newfound sense of optimism. She had conquered her demons and emerged stronger than ever, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And as she looked towards the horizon, she knew that the best was yet to come. As Kayla stood on the precipice of a new chapter in her life, she felt a sense of exhilaration coursing through her veins. The trials and tribulations of her past had forged her into a woman of strength and resilience, and she was ready to embrace whatever the future held with open arms. With her modeling career flourishing, Kayla found herself at the center of attention, gracing the covers of prestigious magazines and walking the runways of the world's most coveted fashion shows. But amidst the glitz and glamour, she remained grounded, never forgetting the journey that had brought her to this moment. One sunny afternoon, Kayla found herself strolling through the bustling streets of the city, her heart brimming with excitement for the adventures that lay ahead. As she passed by storefronts adorned with the latest fashion trends, she couldn't help but marvel at how far she had come since that fateful day at the altar. Lost in thought, Kayla was jolted from her reverie by the ringing of her phone. She glanced at the caller ID and smiled, knowing exactly who it was. "Hey Sarah," she said, answering the call with a grin. "What's up?" "Kayla, you'll never believe who just called me," Sarah exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. "It's Gloria Bream. She wants to meet with you." Kayla's heart skipped a beat at the mention of Gloria's name, her mind racing with possibilities. "That's incredible," she replied, her voice tinged with anticipation. "When does she want to meet?" "She said she's free tomorrow afternoon," Sarah replied, her excitement palpable. "She wouldn't say what it's about, but I have a feeling it's something big." As Kayla hung up the phone, she felt a surge of anticipation coursing through her veins. Whatever Gloria had in store for her, she knew it was a sign that she was on the right path, destined for greatness in the world of fashion. The following afternoon, Kayla found herself sitting across from Gloria in her spacious office, her heart pounding with nervous excitement. "So Kayla," Gloria began, her gaze piercing, "I have some news that I think you'll be very interested in." Kayla leaned forward, her eyes locked on Gloria's, hanging on her every word. "What is it?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Gloria smiled, a twinkle of excitement gleaming in her eyes. "I've been in talks with some of the top designers in the industry," she began, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "And they're interested in having you walk in their upcoming fashion shows." Kayla's breath caught in her throat as the weight of Gloria's words sank in. "Are you serious?" she asked, her voice trembling with disbelief. Gloria nodded, her smile widening. "Absolutely," she replied, her voice filled with certainty. "You have the talent and the presence to be a true star in this industry, Kayla, and I have no doubt that you're destined for greatness." As Kayla left Gloria's office, her mind buzzing with excitement, she felt a sense of gratitude wash over her like a warm embrace. She had faced adversity head-on and emerged victorious, stronger and more determined than ever before. As Kayla embarked on her journey of self-discovery and success, Neil's life took a starkly different turn. With Kayla's departure, he found himself alone, grappling with the consequences of his hurtful actions. As the months passed, Neil's bitterness festered, consuming him from the inside out. Desperate to fill the void left by Kayla's absence, Neil sought solace in the arms of another woman, a wayward and bitchy figure who embodied everything he had once mocked Kayla for not being. She was thin, but her demeanor was cold and calculating, her words laced with venom. Their relationship was fraught with tension and resentment, a far cry from the love and companionship Neil had once shared with Kayla. He found himself constantly walking on eggshells, tiptoeing around his new partner's volatile temper in a desperate bid to keep the peace. Despite his best efforts to salvage the relationship, Neil couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness that gnawed at him from within. He longed for the warmth and affection he had once taken for granted, but try as he might, he couldn't recapture the magic he had lost with Kayla.